Welcome to hell.
What just happened?
We are here, y'all, to discuss something that is near and dear to our hearts, all of our hearts here on the stream tonight. But first and foremost, welcome to What the Show. Hi, I'm Bethany. You know me. Next to me is my husband. This is Mike. We have Juice here, rocking his shades as per used, and a special guest this evening, the one and only Danie. We're all big fans of Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. We're gonna share some stories this evening about all of our experiences with it. I guess it's almost 2 weeks back now. Yeah,
pretty close.
A week and a half or so when we were all living in LA.
So it was Monday for that. Yeah, about a week and not even.
Only a week ago. Yeah, because it was or just over a week. Yeah.
For us, it was a week and a half
ago. Time is like an illusion. But yes, so we just to get the elephant out of the room real quick. We are missing our dear co-host AJ this evening. He is on the mend from having to read the terms of service yesterday.
It knocked him out.
And also there was scary storms in Omaha today. So we wish you the best, AJ. Hopefully, maybe we'll see you in the chat at some point tonight. But if not, we wish you well, and we'll see you on the stream very soon. Another thing just some quick admin before we get into some wild ride-ins, some wild storytelling. Obviously we have to pimp the charity. We're getting so close to Christmas. It is 10 days. What? Everybody don't panic, but panic. It's 10 days till Christmas. Panic. Do a home loan for you over there. And so we're going to go ahead and pimp out our charity real quick. This is the last week, I believe, that we'll be taking donations because we do want to get these donations in before Christmas, since it is a toy drive for the children. So for the children, everyone, get in your donations. But it is basically it's a toy drive for Pine Ridge Indian Reservation, which is in South Dakota, which is AJ always so eloquently puts it. Hopefully I can do it justice this evening. It's very impoverished. It's one of the most impoverished parts of the country. And these kids deserve a nice Christmas, like everyone does, for the children. The charity was started. It's near and dear to our hearts because it was started in Omaha, Nebraska, which of course is where our lovely co-host AJ is from. And they do some really great work, and they help the kids. So if you'd like to go ahead and donate to our stream last night, that would be great. If you want to donate directly to the Toy Drive for Pine Ridge Indian Reservation, that is also great. Obviously, everyone is here for the kids and the toy drive, and Christmas is 10 days away, and we would really appreciate it. So thank you. And without further ado, now we can get into the juicy bit. Also, happy Life Day, everyone. I have a Life Day Chewbacca, and it makes me so happy. I just got him the other day. He's very cute.
All right, so we have to start like at the beginning. So Mr. Toad's Wild Ride is based off of The Wind in the Willows, which was a book originally and was adapted into animated short in 1948.
48, I believe.
48?
1948.
So I have seen the short. I mean, it was a very, very long time ago, prior to this past week, before I had seen the short. And I'm sure most, the ride at the park is not necessarily the most popular ride because it's not a current property. So people don't really know,
right.
Especially the younger audience. You get, people under the age of 20 or even 30, they don't know what this is.
But it's a classic. So yes, to give a little background. So obviously this film comes out in 1948. This guy, I don't know if you've heard of him. His name was Walt Disney. He was like, I love taking my kids to the carousel, and I'm like a little bit like creepily obsessed with trains, like maybe a little bit more than a grown man should be obsessed with trains. This man is obsessed with trains. And so he's like, what if like I could build a train and like carousels and like families could go hang out? And so he built this park, this little known park. I don't think anyone's ever heard of it. It was called Disneyland. It was kind of a success. And so that opened in 1955. And with the grand opening of Disneyland, there were some original attractions, some classics like, things like Jungle Cruise and It's a Small World and all that jazz. Again, that train that he was really obsessed with, Carousel, that was a big hit with the Disney family. And this lovely little ride called Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, which is based off of, as we were saying, The Wind in the Willows. And it's a very interesting ride. And as people who live on the East Coast and go to this other like tiny little park, I don't know if you've heard of it, it's called Walt Disney World, all the time, we also, when of course they built the Magic Kingdom, established in 1971, happy 50 years, Disney World. They duplicated a lot of the rides that were in Disneyland, including Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. But what happened is because it is an older property and a really weird dark ride, they took it out many years ago and replaced it with Winnie the Pooh. So I had never been on Mr. Toad, at least not in like memory that I like maybe when I was like 3 I went on it before it was Winnie the Pooh, but in most of my living memory, it has been in our Fantasyland, The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. So we go out to Disneyland, and obviously we are hyped to ride Mr. Toad. And from there, we had a really lovely experience. And so
first off, for us now, we'll preface this. Bethany and I were there on Friday. Danie and Juice experienced this a few days later because of our experience. But we'll tell our story, which is fun. Just wait till you hear theirs.
Yeah.
But
and many theories. Juice has many theories.
Many theories. They keep coming.
A lot to talk about.
First things first, Bethany and I had to attempt to go on this ride 3 times.
Yeah. This mother kept breaking down. And again, I understand it's a very old ride. But, they have, which we'll discuss later because Juice and Danie did some hardcore research into this. They have like refurbed it. So it's about to hit its 40th anniversary since it like reopened here in 2023, I believe is when it will be hitting it. So in 83, I think is when it reopened.
That's correct.
Right.
But anywho, so I get that it's a very old ride, but it's a simple dark ride.
Very simple mechanism.
Track, simple mechanism. And yeah, we went over to Fantasyland and we were like, we're gonna ride this ride. It was down. So we're like, okay, we'll go ride something else that we don't have.
We get in line the next time.
Yeah, breaks down again.
And
we're like, we were this close. We were this close to being in. So finally,
it ends up being the last ride we do.
The last ride we do. We have now ridden 9 previous. So we've been at Disneyland all day and we're like, okay, this is it. Like, this is the grand finale. We were mother effing getting on. What's up, Kelsey? We're mother effing getting on. There, I got tracked by Kelsey, everyone. Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. So we get in line and first of all, it starts off great already. Because if there is one thing that I love, it's a sassy cast member. Because I think that they, by law, should get to sass one guest a day because they have a very, very thankless job. So we get in line, and right outside there's these people that have parked like their like electronic wheelchairs and like a bunch of strollers we saw. And I don't know where stroller parking is in Disneyland's Fantasyland because it's the first time I've ever been there. And so we go and get in line, and this lady walks out, like a little bit of a Karen, and very sassily goes up to like the ride attendant and is like, our stroller was right there, and it is no longer there. And the cast member goes, where did you park it? And she goes, right there. And she goes, oh, no stroller parking? Loved it. Chef's kiss. And she goes, yeah, it was probably moved over to stroller parking, which is either by Dumbo or, I don't know, somewhere else.
Right.
And so the lady's like, but everyone else was parking right there. And she goes, it clearly states no stroller parking. And so they knew this lady's stroller, and this lady was just like, and I was like, cast compliment. I love this cast member. This is great. This lady broke the rules. They moved her stroller. It was so good.
First person I regret not inviting on the show.
Yeah. I'm really sorry we didn't get her name.
Now the second person.
So we get in line. So we're like, okay, so we're already off to a great start. And I'm like, I live for hearing a cast member like sass a guest. So we get in line, and we're like, right, so the outside, the line is pretty much outside, just switchbacks, right? And so we're in this part, we've just gotten in line, and the switchback over next to us is this child having a melt. Like, it was the witching hour. Like, this child had
enough. 9, almost 9 at night, I think.
Yeah, like and I think he needed to go home and go to sleep. And his parents were like, we paid, we're gonna go, we're getting our money's worth. Maybe they too had tried to go on. We have to see Mr. Toad. Maybe they had tried to go on like 3 times, like we had. So this kid is just like he's like, I don't want to go on this ride. And like, I thought that the parents were either going to forfeit or this kid would inevitably, because it was like 15, 20 minutes we waited. I thought inevitably this kid would calm down. No, he did not.
The best part, we get so if you're familiar with the queue, you get through the switchbacks and you finally get to like the last part before you go in, and you're right next to the building. So the kid gets up there and literally just starts kicking the wall repeatedly. He's just standing there angrily kicking the wall.
And I was like, we've all been there.
I immediately texted AJ.
Well, my favorite part of this, is in the group chat, because we were in our like what the show group chat, and we're like, this kid is throwing a fit, and then like literally 2 minutes. So like at this point, Justin and AJ had responded.
Yes, that's right.
And so Mike's like, as we speak, he was literally kicking the wall. So he was really great, and we loved him. Well, then we finally make it into the ride, right? And first of all, Mike is a tall man, and these cars are like so tiny.
They are small.
And then we're like, enjoy the Old England. So like the steering wheel's on the right hand side, right? Like we have these old timey cars, because again, this like movie was from 1948, so very old timey. So we get in. And another thing to know about Mike and I is that we watch a lot of like theme park vloggers and like different theme park, like we watch like Defunctland and theme park history, and we love all the kind of stuff. We're nerds. We're theme park nerds. So one of the ones we watch is Tim Tracker, and I might get hate for this, but that man is dumb. He is dumb. His wife is dumb. I love watching the content, but they're both like really dumb sometimes, and so we kind of like hate watch them. And whatever, he's winning. He's getting views, and he gets paid like millions of dollars.
He has 1 million subscribers.
He has so many subscribers. It's not even funny. He's fine. It's okay if I'm watching him. So they had just recently gone to Disneyland, and because they had, and we're not as familiar with Disneyland as we are Disney World, we decided that we would watch some of these videos. So we watched it, and he filmed a little bit of him on Mr. Toad. And if anyone knows anything about Tim Tracker, he notoriously used to have this like handlebar mustache. And so one of the cops in this ride has a handlebar mustache. And so every time Tim Tracker went around and on this ride or whatever, he was like, Tim Tracker?
Because the cop's in the ride quite a few times.
In the ride a few times, for those of you who are unaware. Obviously, the two of you on screen are aware, but anyone who might be watching might
You're going to learn in a little bit.
You're going to learn. We're going to watch a ride.
We're going to do a watch along in a bit.
So at this point, we're like real slap happy, okay? Like this is our first full day in California. We got up pretty early. We have been at the park for like 10 hours at this point.
Yeah.
And we're still on like East Coast time. So even though it's like 9 o'clock West Coast time, like we think it's,
midnight for
after midnight us, we're like so slap happy. And so we get on the ride. And first off, like, I'm driving. And I'm like living my best life on this ride. And then we get to the first cop. And Mike goes, Tim Tracker? And I'm dying. Like, it's not that funny, but it was so funny, like at the time, you know? So every time we get to it, he goes, Tim Tracker? And he just like says it. And I'm dying the entire time. And I don't want to spoil anything because we're getting to, yeah, exactly, Jerry, exactly. Just like that. So we, get to the end, whatever, and we literally walk off. And again, I'm not going to spoil anything because I want Danie and Juice to kind of explain the end of this ride.
And we need as many viewers as possible to watch this.
Yeah.
So we'll wait till we get some more viewers on here to put the watch along on. But wow.
We do the ride, and we literally get off, and we're like, we were already kind of planning on that being the last ride. Because again, it had been a long day, whatever. And we're like, and we wanted to like go get in a spot for fireworks, but we were like, no, that's it. Nothing can possibly top this ride. This is the greatest ride. We're done with our day. We feel content.
Like you can see the videos, and we're going to show you a video, but being on the ride and getting to the last 30 seconds, you can't be prepared for it.
It is one of the only rides where I've walked off. There are 2 rides in my life where I've walked off and I go, I have more questions about this ride than answers. Like usually you're in line, you're like, what's this ride going to be like? And you walk off the ride and you know. There are 2 rides. One of them is Fast and Furious Supercharged that I walk off and I go, I somehow have more questions. The other one is Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. I walked off and I was like, I have so many questions.
Yep.
And then obviously what we did is we were like, if we had to experience that wild ride, we
immediately got into the group chat
for our friends to experience this. And no one else listened to us, everyone. And I bet you they regret it, except for the 2 people who are on screen with us tonight. And I'm going to let them take it from here.
Because their story is even wilder than ours.
Yeah, an even more wild ride, so to speak.
Oh, man. We had a pretty good time at Disneyland, I think. Yes. So the whole day was very nice. I did not get my Disneyland tickets at the same time that everyone else got them. So my opening park was California Adventure. So I had to go there first, and I met up with Mike and Bethany because like they said, they went to Disneyland that Friday, I believe, and then this was on Monday where the whole group that went to Spectacular as a house decided to go to Disneyland. And Mike and Bethany did California Adventure that same day, and I got to hang out with them all day long, and that was so much fun. First and foremost, I had the best time with Mike and Bethany. Like, we had so much fun all day long. My plan was because I had a park hopper ticket, so you can go over to Disneyland at 1 p.m. I wanted to go to Disneyland as soon as I could because I knew that I wanted to spend time in that park. But I was having such a blast with everyone that I did not leave at all. And it was the end of the night. It was getting towards the end of the night. Everyone was getting tired. Everyone had already had plans. A lot of people were leaving. And then Justin, I'm gonna let you tell this part of the story next.
Yeah. My context is, so I was with the other group in the other side of the park, but the whole time I'm like, man, they seem like they're having so much fun. Like I actually wish I was over in California Adventure with them.
We were having a great day.
Carthay Circle.
Circle.
Oh, that's a memory I will never forget. I love you all so much. I appreciate you all so much. We had such a moment.
I had to wait in line for it. I had to wait an hour for someone to not get a disability pass. So that's all. We're not going to talk about that anymore.
Nope.
Just had to say that once. All right. Now never again. But so right. So we're kind of tired, and then Paul is like, all right, we're just going to head back and like shower and get ready to go out to eat with Andrew and Ben and Andrew. And I'm like, that actually sounds pretty good. And then we finally get over to California Adventure, run into you three, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna stay. Like this is gonna be fun. We're gonna go on a wild ride. I don't know what that wild ride is yet, but we're gonna go on one.
What we're doing.
Yeah. So we do like all the Guardian stuff that we talked about on the last show, and then so then the two of us roll off to go do Mr. Toad.
Well, you didn't go there first.
Well, we did go there first.
Okay. I'm gonna jump back in here. Okay.
Yeah.
I hadn't been to the Disneyland side of the park all day long. I really, really, really wanted to go to the Disneyland park. I was totally fine with going by myself. I just wanted to go ride a couple of rides, just go check out the land. I hadn't been there. I don't know when's the next time I'm going to be there, so I just wanted to go to Disneyland. I had a park hopper ticket. I might as well fucking use it, right?
Yeah, I spent money to park hop, bitches.
Yeah. So, Mike and Bethany only had the California Adventure ticket, but Justin had the park hopper ticket. So because Justin stayed behind, I was like, will you please go to Disneyland with me? Like, I just don't want to go by myself now. It was already late. So Justin went with me to Disneyland, and that was exactly why we went, because it was already late. I was like, I'm tired. I want to go home. Everyone's already going home. Mike and Bethany had been talking about Mr. Toad the entire fucking weekend. So it's like, you know what? Like, let's go. Like, go with me. Will you go with me to this park? And then we'll go ride Mr. Toad's, and then we'll just leave. Like, let's just do that, and then we'll go home. It's fine. So we do that, and we go into the Disneyland park, and it's probably like 8:45, 8:30
right
maybe.
The fireworks, yeah.
It was probably like around 8:30. So we get there, and we've no idea where we're going because I'm not used to this park. Justin's not used to this park. So I'm trying to find it on the map. It's crowded. We're losing each other in the crowd. We come up with the system on when we need to move with the crowd, which is one of my favorite parts of the night.
Yeah, that was
figuring
great.
out how to maneuver through the crowd. I'm telling y'all, Justin and I had a fucking blast at Disneyland. It was so much fun. So we maneuver our way to find Mr. Toad. We finally find it. We know that we're looking on the map. We're like, all right, it's somewhere by the carousel. Where's the carousel? It's by Dumbo. There's Dumbo there. So we saw the stroller parking on the way there. Right there in front of Dumbo. It's right there. It's very obvious on your way to Mr. Toad. I promise. It's right there. So we finally find it, and we notice that it looks like it's closed. But there's still a cast member that's right there in front. So we go and we ask, and they said that the ride is closed until after the fireworks. So we didn't know for sure what time the fireworks were at that point, and we're like, all right, well, those are our plans. We're here. Let's just go to Galaxy's Edge and hang around there and see if we can get into the cantina, because I had never been into the cantina before. So we decided to try to go over there and see if we could make it. We figured everyone's gonna go to the fireworks. It's probably gonna be pretty chill. So let's go ahead and head that way. And that was exactly what we did. And do you want to take over, or do you want me to keep
Yeah, yes, I can. So, right. So we're waiting so we think the fireworks end at 9.
Yes.
But we soon realized the fireworks actually begin at 9. So right, it was like 8. It might actually been like 7:55 that we got there.
Yeah.
Because I think we got into the cantina.
Right around 8.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was right before 8. So because then we got into the cantina at like 8:30, and we thought we only needed to wait for like a half hour, but no, the fireworks were actually beginning at 9.
Right.
So we're like, okay, realistically, we're not going to actually be able to get to go on Mr. Toad's. It's like I don't think we're going to actually hang out in there for like an hour and a half or whatever and wait. So
we were tired. It was already late.
It was like, there's going to be this big party at the back of the Action House.
Go home.
We can get back to. But then we were like, but we have to at least watch the ride.
No, that wasn't even where it started. It was because we were like, we were having a fucking blast, right? So we were just joking around and having all this stuff, and it's like, we should tell them that I don't know if I want to tell this part of the first part of the story. I might tell y'all on separately. But we were like, we're gonna tell them that we rode as many rides as we possibly could, because we were able to ride all of the rides that we wanted to. So we were coming up with all of these different stories to tell everyone, so we could have fun with everyone whenever we went back to the house.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're like, we have to tell them that we rode Mr. Toad's at least 5 times. And then we thought about it, and we're like, well, if we do that, we should at least know the ride. We should know the ride before we go and tell everyone.
I like that we thought that we would like fact check you. Although
we did.
We would have been like, oh yeah.
Because we would have mentioned the end of the ride.
100%. So that was when we decided to watch the ride.
And that's when your life changed forever.
100%. Because the second that video was over, we both looked at each other and we're like, we have to ride this ride. There's absolutely no way we can leave this park without riding Mr. Toad. It's impossible at this point now. We watched it maybe like 3 times before we actually rode the ride, I think.
Something like that, yeah. It was...
Yeah. In the cantina.
While we were waiting, while we were waiting in line. Yeah, we were still waiting in line.
That most people like in Disney World, you have to make reservations for it 60 days out, and like people lose their minds, or like filming things, and you're like, there we were at the cantina, casual, watching a ride through Mr. Toad.
Watching it different.
We did have a little trouble getting into the cantina at first because we didn't really understand the whole reservation system. And then there were times and instantly what clicked in my mind, Bethany had said something one time about reservations. She was like, just hit skip and just keep going until you get it. So whenever we were trying, we kept refreshing, it wasn't open. We kept refreshing, it wasn't open. And then finally Justin got it open and then got kicked out. And then I got it open and then just went. And I think that happened twice. And then I got it, and then we finally got in, and so we just skip. And then again, like we were having fun. We're like, oh no, we could have told them we were celebrating something, but we just went for it. So, and then we just started talking about the ride and talking about Disneyland, and then started watching the ride right there in the cantina. It was a lot of fun. What did I have? I forgot what I had.
You had the tequila one with it's got like the little candy thing on top.
The outer rim.
The outer rim, yeah.
I
did like the Manhattan one. I can't remember what it was called.
That's the one I had there too, which they only have in California. They don't have that one in Orlando, so I had that one too.
Oh, okay.
Matt's in the house. Now it's a party. I also love that when you told us the story when you got back to the house, you were like, yeah, and so we were going to tell you that we wrote it, and we even picked out what color car we would. We're like, yeah, we were the car. And
it's because we watched the video so many times. We got so attached to the green car that we almost waited in the queue to get the green car.
Yeah, we're almost like, oh no, you can go ahead of us.
Go ahead. We would like the green car.
Yeah, and you know what? The queue is actually very nice. Okay, so we're in Batu. We're at the cantina. We finished the drinks, and then because there was a limit, which I truly believe we could have gotten away with more if you wouldn't have asked.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I was gonna start going around and being like, "Have you used your second drink yet? Have you used your second drink?" Get someone to be like,
I think we could. I think we could have gotten away with staying there longer.
And I got it.
Oh.
See, that was why I said
we no longer have a drink like maximum in Orlando.
With a time limit, but not a drink.
We still have the time limit, but we don't have the drink maximum anymore.
There was one time we knew a former coworker of ours was there, and I didn't even order like 2 of them she gave me.
Yeah, she just started handing them over.
I had like 5 of them.
So we didn't know, and we literally were just trying to ask the man because I was like, I don't know what the rules are here, like especially because like Disneyland was closed longer during the pandemic than Disney World was. So I was like, honestly, the cantina hasn't technically been open as long as ours is. Right. Ours has been. So I was like, I don't know what the rules are, and so they kept putting like the check to just be like, here's the check, just so you have it, I can amend it, whatever. So we were going to put our gift card down, and Mike was just like, hey, am I allowed to do another Jet Juice? And the guy was like looked around like he was in like the witness protection program. He's like, I'm really supposed to, but if you can do it really quick. And Mike's like, oh, like don't worry. And he's like, if you can do it really quick. And Mike's like, okay.
Jet Juice is it's potent, so it's small. So like Jet Juice,
you can like take it like a shot.
Yeah, basically if you wanted to, because it's a strong. That's mostly Maker's Mark. So they don't make the whole. You don't get a full size drink. So it's a little bit bigger than a shot. So I'm like, yeah, I can finish the Jet Juice quick. So.
We did. And he handed the Jet Juice. We're like, here's our gift card. Take our money. We're ready to pay.
Justin very kindly asked our server, there's only a 2-drink maximum, right? Like we're only allowed 2? And
no, I didn't say it like that.
Oh, yes, you did.
I was like, is there still a, because I knew there was one earlier in the day. So I'm like, well, now that it's night, maybe there not is. So I'm like, is there still a drink limit? That's how I said it.
And she very hesitantly said, yes.
Yeah.
That was
probably
exactly
we
how
probably
she
still
said
could
it.
have.
I think we could have gotten away with another one, but alas, we're glad that we did it because after that, we decided to go straight to Mr. Toad's. Bud Lefton, Bud riding all through the park.
It was
just getting through it, had a destination, going straight to it. So we see that it's open. The queue's open. We get into the queue. There's a small line. And I'm glad that we actually stopped laughing for 2 seconds and started reading the queue and all of the stuff that was on there, because that was what gave us the hint to Motor Mania. And that was how
Future Podcast was born. That is how Future Podcast was born.
That's exactly right.
Cuties? Is that
the cuties?
We're gonna have an entire podcast, and it's gonna be us discussing cues to arrive. And I really think this could be a hit.
Yeah, I do too. Listen, I do too. I think that's a great one. It's called Q Cuties. Be on the lookout for 2022, y'all.
2022, y'all. Give her one.
So we had a blast, and we were watching the ride while we were in the queue, right?
We were doing something, and
I can't remember because we were getting super distracted that the line was just going ahead of us, and we have to run to catch up to the line.
Right.
The cast member had to tell us twice to move.
I think we're like, all right, what's Motor Mania? What does Motor Mania mean? Yeah. We got to know all this stuff.
Yes. Got to figure out what the fuck Motor Mania is. And then finally we get into it. And again, we get up to the ride release there, but yes.
It's happening. You got the 50 likes.
We got the 50, yeah. And it's happening. And it was Danie.
Danie was number 50.
I saw it. I watched it all. I should have recorded it as I hit it. But we finally get to the end of the queue, and we've watched this video a few times at this point, and we wanted the green cart, and we kept waiting just a little. We kept trying to count the carts that were coming by to see if we were going to get the green one. And sadly, we did not get the green one because we decided that we held up this line twice. Let's just go ahead and get on. The green one was the next one, was the very next one.
Yeah. A kid would have started kicking the wall if we had made people wait any longer.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe like he was a time traveler and he had come back from the future, and he was like, the last time I was in this ride in the future, there are these people that held up the ride, so they started kicking the wall.
It's gonna happen, Mom. They're gonna hold up the line.
They're holding up the line. So then we get on this ride. Justin, you want to take it over?
Sure. Yeah. So one of my big questions, because we had watched it, was like, okay, how does Mr. Toad, he thinks. Yeah, actually, never mind. I won't spoil. I can't say this.
We're gonna watch it.
I'll save this for the end. Yeah, I'll save this.
Go ahead and watch it, and then I'll discuss our theories and thoughts and feelings.
Let's let them do their reaction to writing it. Then let's do that.
Okay. Yeah, right. So it actually helped that we had already watched it because we could just soak it in and be like, okay, there's that, versus like, the first time you watch something, you're not really taking in, and you're just like, okay, this is it. Like, what's happening? But we were able to like actually analyze it, and yeah, you get to the end of it, and you're just like, okay,
how and why?
You leave with a lot of questions.
So I mean, that's all I've really got as far as reaction.
Right now, we're about to roll that beautiful bean footage.
Yeah.
Jerry, I'm gonna need you to stay here for just a minute to watch. Juice, do you have the ride footage pulled up?
I do. Yeah. Any other thoughts on it before we?
I mean, I don't think I have any more non-spoiler thoughts.
Yeah,
obviously, I think we'll all have more thoughts after we all go through this wild ride together here.
And it's a
on
wild
this stream tonight.
ride.
And that was a wild ride leading up to the wild ride.
Where it really gets interesting.
And you will also hear Juice and Danie's Uber ride home thoughts, which is what I'm the most excited to hear.
The best.
We got a sneak preview, but they said they were holding it for tonight, and I can't wait.
All right,
So
Juice.
All right, let's do it.
So good. Every time you see the mustache in there, if you want to say
Tim Tracker,
feel free.
Okay.
Here we go.
Look at that beautiful turtle.
There's a lot of setup. We gotta really take it in. So in here is where the kid kicked the wall?
Right before.
Right before they went inside.
Okay.
There's our dude.
There he is.
There he is.
There he is.
He's got some mania. Car mania.
Look at how adorable these cars are. Also, imagine Mike, 6'2", trying to get into one.
It's not easy. But I do it again happily.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
There's the green car.
There's the green one.
So we must have rode in that one. No. Because then we have a black one.
It was like mostly black with red trim. That's what I remember about it.
We had a teal one.
Okay.
Yeah, we had teal.
Teal.
It is an epic ride.
But that's the green one. That's the one
This
that
is
we
the one we
wanted to ride.
wanted.
Look how small that is. That is very small.
It's
tiny.
tiny.
It's a tiny little car. I also look for the one ride attendant just to sit there as you get in your car. That also pleases me for some reason.
All right, here we go. In a library.
There's Mr. Mole.
I think they just called him Mole. Yeah.
I gotta say, if you're driving the steering wheel, you really feel like you were just on a wild ride.
That's Mole.
That's Mole. That's Mole right there. Yeah.
The first one was
Tim Tracker.
Every time. It cracked me up every single time.
Tim Tracker.
I say, for like a family, like look how you do whip around those corners.
There's a lot to see here, and it goes pretty quick.
There's a lot to
for this style of ride, it goes quick.
2 minutes, 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Or no, that's Guardians. Never mind.
No, no.
Yeah, that's correct.
I think that's actually pretty close for this
Probably
one.
is.
Let me look up the specs on it.
I'm surprised I haven't timed it out.
All right, and we're going
Flash
to the
warning.
wall.
Wild Hogs. That
Oh,
scumbag.
That scumbag.
We
We'll
got
get to
beard
him later.
floating in the
Yeah,
air.
we will get to him.
Boy, Lily.
Burgers. All right, nice.
I love it.
Uh-oh, here we go.
Got chops.
Oh, we're in trouble.
This is like
There's a train coming at us. A train.
Straight at
It's
you.
a very cool effect, the train. I liked that a lot.
And we're in hell.
wait, okay.
That's literally how it ends.
Did we like die and go to hell? Oh, it's over.
And that's it.
Wait.
That's how fast it goes. Yep. I already know what you're thinking. Mm-hmm.
I'm already. I thought you. How many times have I seen this and I'm still discovering new stuff?
Here we
So
go.
I thought that you. I didn't realize you die by the train at the end there.
Right.
No!
The train hit you.
Not every time. Okay.
Yeah, that's how I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get
Okay.
it was in. Okay. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to get a runtime on it, and Wikipedia is not helping me in that regard.
Well, we could just. I mean, we can just count it from the time. So it.
Yeah, I think it's 4 something.
So it ends at. So the video's for you exit at 3:09 and you enter.
It says duration
at,
2 minutes
Yeah, so it's about like on ride. It's about 2 minutes.
Yeah,
that sounds
on-
right.
Yeah. Yep.
on the actual ride.
Yeah.
So I don't think we can stress enough how much this boggled all of our minds that a ride, like a classic Disneyland attraction, literally ends
You
with you
end.
ending in hell.
You're in hell at the end
That's
of the
how it
ride.
That's.
And then get this shit. You watch the movie,
There's nothing.
it does not end in hell.
Nothing.
Nothing to do with hell. So I'm dying to know, Mr. Walt Disney, who is in wherever you are, but you've been dead for many years,
Probably.
His
What?
head- his head-
Holy hell.
what possessed you to be like, hey, we're making this family theme park. I love trains, blah, 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 all that. I'm going to make this ride
Wind
that
in the
ends in
Willows,
hell.
and it ends in hell.
In the movie, he's like, basically like, they think that he stole a car, and then it wasn't even him.
It was the weasel.
And it was the weasels, and he gets cleared, and it has a happy ending. So what possessed them to make this ride end in hell?
I have a lot of
I-
theories that
I
I
have
won't,
to
but I actually
run through the rest of
disagree
the
with
list
you.
today, so
But
give me
I got theories. We'll get to that later.
All right, Danny's gonna be back, and we're just gonna all
So
just
when did
wait to
what
hear Jason's theories.
so when did Walt Disney die? Okay, so he died in '66. So
Yeah.
Right.
he did not get to. His hand was not in the remaster. That is
No.
even
Right.
more boggling that they kept it
Yeah,
because they take it
Well,
a step further. The
here's the
55.
thing that
you
you
just
need to
die.
understand.
Oh.
what you need
wow.
to understand. I like you, James. Ends in hell because you meet Walt at the end. Well, what you need to understand is there are things.
I didn't know Lomas was here.
Yeah. Well, again, rest in peace, Wallace Shawn.
Him and Wallace Shawn are hanging out.
In the Disney community, if Walt ever remotely said he liked something, you cannot touch it.
Right.
Like,
Right,
we
right,
talk about
right,
his
right.
random things still to this day because Walt liked it. Like, I don't know.
Right.
It's very, we do candlelight, which is lovely. Carousel of Progress, like so many different things. They're like, well, but Walt loved it, so we can't touch it. So I have to assume that he loved the hell ending. So that way when they went and remastered it in the 80s, they were like, well, we can't change that.
Mhm.
So it would
No.
be sitting on Walt's grave. We can't change that. So that's my theory. But yeah, I too am curious. It's the same reason why, and again, I mean no disrespect to Mr. Toad, because it is now maybe my all-time favorite, attraction.
Maybe.
But it's definitely up there for me and experiences. But it's the same reason why I think this ride will live forever and they'll never replace it, because it's like, oh, well, we can't. It's well, we can't get rid of it.
So I do have to say this, like last week when we were like alluding to doing this, like our social media interaction from people in California, like the amount of people who mentioned it ending in hell was hilarious.
Yeah.
Everyone was like, it ends in hell.
It ends in hell. Like, it's a big, you literally, a judge comes down and sentences you to hell.
That's definitely the first thing I said when because our experience was watching it, not doing it. So yeah, it's just like the ride ends. We're just like, do we just die and go to hell?
We got hit by a train and went
we were watching the video. The first time that we watched the video, we both like cracked up, just almost fell on the floor laughing because we're like, that's the end. That's how it ends. We're done. And just cracking up because you all had really hyped it up in the best type of way. And we took your advice, and I'm forever grateful for it because I do believe that Mr. Toad's Wild Ride is probably going to be my favorite attraction
There's nothing even close right now. It's the best.
No, 100%. I really like the experience of the whole day. I think is what made it 10 times better. Like, especially for the three of y'all, for me. Like, thank you all so much for allowing me to have that experience because my whole day with the two of y'all at the beginning, the end of the night with Justin, that was just the best day for me. I had the best day. And as soon as we were done with Mr. Toad's, like we said it in the car ride home. Like, we regret not riding it 5 more times, like we said that we were going to do. But immediately we were like, that you can't ride any other ride. So when you all said that, that was exactly what we said.
Yeah,
as soon as we were done with that, like, you can't ride any other ride after this. That's it. Like, end your Disneyland trip with this. Yeah. So I've made a forever promise. Every time I go to Disneyland, Mr. Toad is going to be the first ride. And it's going to be the last. That has to be a
promise for all of us.
Yeah. Anytime you're ever at Disneyland. If I find out that anyone wrote anything besides Mr. Toad as the last ride of the day, we're making a pact right here, right now.
Yeah.
I swear, I solemnly swear that will always be the last thing that I ride at Disneyland. I
solemnly swear. Oh my goodness. We had such a fun experience going through all of that. Like just trying to make up jokes about like how we were going to lie about this ride. I think my favorite part about it was like how we would talk about, because as soon as we saw the video, one of the things that we said was like, no, I have to be the one that's driving because there's no actual way in real life that Justin would be like the one driving. He like if we were making this story up, like telling y'all that we rode the ride when we didn't, that was the whole thing. I think that was one of my favorite things, like just making up the experience of the ride. And then actually having that experience, that wild experience that we totally made up in our brains, and then immediately experienced that it was, in fact, a wild ride.
Well, here's the thing is like, we went on it and we messaged everybody and we're like, there was like, I don't know, 15, 20 other people who went to Disney that day. And I think the 4 of us are the only ones who in that weekend went on that ride.
Easily, yeah.
I also would like to hear about how your Uber driver probably thinks that both of you were on something.
Oh, yeah.
Homie didn't say a word the entire ride. Listen, Homie didn't say a word the entire ride. But as soon as we were getting off of the Uber, we were saying, thank you. And I said, oh, I'm so sorry that you had to listen to us talk about the ride all this whole time. He started busting laughing, y'all. Like, he just cracked because he understood. Like, oh, yeah, y'all are fucking dumb.
We're like, it's like almost an...
went to Disneyland and was like, I'm going on Mr. Toad because I just had like a 30-minute Uber ride with these 2 people and they couldn't talk.
It's like almost an hour.
Yeah, it was like pretty close to an hour.
Yeah.
So like we're straight for now. We watched it like 3 times on the way back. Like
we did.
We're pausing, looking up Wikipedia articles, reading the synopsis of the 1955 ride.
And in 2023, Danie and Juice did make this promise that they, in honor of its 40 years being reopened,
we're all going,
and we're gonna ride it 40
times.
40 for 40, baby, Mr. Toad. Woo woo!
You get Disney Plus for Mr. Toad.
I would like to use my Genie. They're like, ma'am, you're only allowed to use Genie Plus on a ride one time. And I'd be like, I want 40 times, Mr. Toad.
I will
Who's gonna
spend
stop me?
$2 every time.
Yeah, I'll pay a la carte for that. You can sign me the hell up.
Oh my god!
It'll be the best day of all time if we ride that 40 times.
The fun thing about that also is that it's May 23rd, 1983 is the reopening anniversary of it. My birthday just so happens to be on May 25th. So
It's meant to be. We're living it up for Danny's birthday. We're riding Mr. Toad.
This is happening.
that's right.
Well, the only thing we will do that day besides go on Mr. Toad is go and like have some drinks at the cantina. So we'll like
And watch
ride
Mr.
it a few
Toad.
times,
And watch it while
go
we're
to the
there.
And watch
cantina,
Mr. Toad.
ride it a few times. You know, I think the tipsier you are on Mr. Toad, probably the better.
And then we'll have to get a park hopper the day we go to California Adventure. Go to Carthay Circle, then go back to Disneyland.
Yeah.
And maybe the Guardians of the Galaxy ride also. Maybe. We'll see.
Oh,
Yeah,
gotta do that again.
I'll do it.
Oh man, Okay, so we're as soon as we get off the ride, we're just like
Buzz.
on a high. This whole thing, we're so excited about it. That ride, like the video for that, y'all, that does not do that ride any justice. Honestly, the ride itself is
It is
a very, very cool ride. The twists and the turns that you take from it, the flats that they used for it. I learned that word by the Wikipedia.
Look at her. Look at her.
Yeah, look at it. And the whole experience of the ride was really a lot of fun. There's one point in the ride, it's where the TNT barrels are coming at you. You see it in the video and you don't really like feel it, but when you're in that ride, it's so much fun. That ride genuinely was a fucking great time, and we had so much fun doing it, and we were cracking up because the end of it, the video makes the end of it a little bit more epic than what the ending is. Spoiler it. I'm sorry, y'all, but that's what makes it that much more fun. Is that it's just this light blinking at you.
Yeah, it did. Like I thought, like actual, like my memory of the video was like actual, like fire shoots at you, and then it was like, oh no, it's just a. They should just remaster it. If they remastered, they should just remaster the last room. So like, yeah, it's you're in a cart from the '80s for like the whole ride, and then you finally get into hell, and it's like totally like.
Rob Zombie.
I want
real and like
Rob Zombie.
Fires coming at you, like
hell yeah, that's what I want.
Music,
that's what I want. So it's the end of the night. It's after. So we stayed until the entire fireworks were done. We stayed in the cantina for a little while because we weren't gonna go on Mr. Toad's. We were just gonna spend some time there, hang out, and then take off. And then it got to a point to where we watched it and we're like, oh no, we gotta fucking do it. So afterwards, after all of that, it's already later. It's not closing time, but it's close enough to closing time. It was 10:30 maybe.
Yeah, you got back around midnight, so I'm gonna say you probably left around 11ish.
Yeah, it was late when we left. We stayed in that park for almost 2.5 hours, I think.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, so we're just having a blast, and we get lost inside of the park. That's on Justin. That's all on Justin.
So I was like, I've been here. I was here early in the day. I remember how to get back to. The disability line, and then, we're in a forest or something. I don't know, but
we got lost. Lost. So it was a lot of fun. We almost missed our Uber. We were running to our Uber, which I was not very happy about.
I knew the prices were gonna go up, so I'm like, I'm just gonna call it now, and then we'll just like quick run to it. And then it worked out. They found us. It was fine. So it was nice. So we finally get into the Uber, and then we're still just buzzing off of this whole day. And we're so excited about Mr. Toad. We're so excited to go back to the house to tell y'all about this because we had so much fun. The whole point was to come back and just have this experience with y'all because we were so excited that you had given this to us. We wanted to give this back to y'all. So yeah, I was furiously texting like, "Are you guys still up? Please."
Oh yeah, no. I got so many messages from Juice, and then once you realize who were up, he's like, yes, stay up.
Like when y'all came in, I was like, tell me.
That was the point that Bethany stayed up like super late.
It was, yeah. I had like kind of finally just adjusted to California time, and also I think I was just buzzing from the day, and I really wanted to stay up to hear y'all talk about Mr. Toad.
We're all leaving back home the next day. So I think we were the last ones to get home that night. You
were.
Yeah. And there were still some people at the house too that were hanging out. So we get home. We'll talk about that, and then we'll go into the theory stuff real quick. So we get home, and we just make everyone stop and listen to our stories. Like we sat the entire house down, and we're like, listen, you need to experience this just as much as we did. So we made the entire house stop and listen to our stories, because that's how epic Mr. Toad's Wild Ride is. It's life-changing.
Yes.
It's an experience.
Bonds were made, experiences were had, lives were changed, I think, a little bit on that tape from one day.
On all accounts.
On all accounts.
On all accounts, 100%. So we're so hyped about this whole thing. You walk out of that ride, you all said it perfectly. You walk out of that ride and you have nothing but questions. There are only questions going through your brain. Because why hell? What is this? Immediately, we're like, we need to know more about the movie. We got to know more about the movie. So we're in the Uber. We're on the Wikipedia, going through everything, trying to figure it out, and just reading as much as we can. I think we did so much Mr. Toad research on that ride. We can definitely start a podcast just on Mr. Toad information.
I think so. But literally, when y'all got back and you were like breaking it down for us, the two of you literally did. You're like, so we looked it up, and like the amount of things you knew after an Uber ride, I was like, I'm very impressed right now. It was impressive.
We crushed it, I think. So Justin came up with a bunch of really fun theories about this whole situation, and I'm gonna wait until he comes back. You go for it, bud.
Break it down.
He's opening. Okay, you got it.
I just said that. Yeah. Okay.
Please tell us what your Mr. Toad theories.
All right. So and it's ever working on it. Like, I'm already slightly changing or tweaking it after just this most recent rewatch of it. We've seen the movie now twice, and that was very eye opening, because what's very interesting, right? So the movie does not have hell or anything, right? So essentially, he gets away with it, or he doesn't even. Right? He doesn't even. Well, he does do something wrong in the sense of like he still is a maniac on the road, like he shouldn't be driving. So he's done something wrong, but he gets accused for stealing a car that he doesn't actually steal.
Right. That part. He is innocent on that.
So he's in it. Yeah. So he's innocent, yet he's still, he's still guilty on some account. So yeah, then you get the ride. And in the 1955 one, from our research we did, you don't necessarily go to hell, you just die. You don't get sentenced, you just die.
I still don't know if that's better or worse.
Right. So the train part is still there. You get hit by the train and you just go to hell.
Right.
You just go to hell. There's no explanation. You get hit by the train and you go straight to hell.
You're straight to hell. Yeah. I don't know. That might somehow be worse.
Disneyland, everyone. Disneyland.
Walt Disney, everyone.
Sentencing. At least there's kind of an explanation. Again, not really an explanation, but sort of an explanation with the sentencing as to why you are in hell. Sort of.
So right. So yeah, because you get the sentence in 1983, and so what I think is going on here is I think Mr. Disney wanted to give kids a little more realistic look at life. I think he's becoming an older man, and he's giving these kids all this joy. They don't deserve it. They don't need joy anymore. They need to learn about the real So I think what it's ultimately leading to is the metaphor for that the path of if we're on the wrong path in life, it will inevitably lead to hell. So what I love about the 1955 version is that there are a lot of one-way there's a lot of like one-way, turn back, stop. That's what there's like warning signs in it. So you get the warning sign. I wish they would have left that in 1983. I got critiques. So it gives you that like, okay, you need to turn around because this path you're on is going to lead to death. And so, of course, you stay on the path and then, you die and boom, it's all over. So I think there's a good metaphor for life within the ride. Oh, I should have scripted this out and had brother.
That would have been really great, actually.
We're gonna script this out and have Brother Lomas read my theory the next time he's on.
If Brother Lomas could have hit us with some theories.
All right, so I have a goal in life, and that is to ride Mr. Toad's Wild Ride with Brother Lomas.
Yes.
One of the 40 times that we do it in 2023, I think Brother Lomas should definitely be there.
I will fly him out.
Please come
I will
out.
fly him
We'll
out.
make that happen. But our charity of the month is the Brother Lomas.
Yeah, it's the Brother Lomas comes to Disneyland. I think
We're doing
I
it.
just bought the plane ticket. I'll pick you up from the airport in Michigan, and I think and we're gonna go ride Mr. Toad.
I respect it.
I just want to ride Mr. Toad's Wild Ride with all of my friends.
That's
Yeah.
really what it's
Everyone.
Like, what a dream. Can you just imagine if all the little cars was just like all people you knew? Like, you just walked in, you're like,
There's like 40 cars in a row, all with us.
I mean, does that mean that I'm going to hell with all of my friends? Kind of. But you know what? I'm into it.
I want us all to be in the queue at the same time.
It's the ultimate goal.
A dream.
It's the dream.
What a dream. I want to
2023.
I'm kicking a wall.
Me.
Probably.
It'll be Justin for not getting his theories out. Keep going.
Yeah. No. But so one of my absolute favorite parts, because I love stuff like the original Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory, and compared to like the Johnny Depp version. One of the main reasons I love, because Willy Wonka, I mean, there's a lot of similarities between Willy Wonka and Mr. Toad.
I mean, yeah, look at that. Look at those.
Like the acid tunnel is the acid tunnel in Willy Wonka is basically Mr. Toad.
It is.
So what I love about those rides the story of Willy Wonka is because it's a wonderful story about grace and forgiveness, because you have Charlie and his grandpa making the mistake, and like every kid they do something wrong that they weren't supposed to in the park or in the place, but yet Willy Wonka still gifts him the thing. So despite his wrongdoing, he still gives him gives him it. So whereas in the newer version, they want to be like, they want to take that away and be like that he does nothing wrong. And so I don't think that's a good lesson, because our human nature, there's always something wrong with us.
Capable of doing bad and good things. There's light and dark in all of us, all that jazz. Mm-hmm. It's all about how you handle your mistakes. So yeah, right. I agree. I think that's the OG one, because no one is perfect, but it's how you pick yourself back up from your failures.
So how that relates to Mr. Toad is what I love about the movie is so he doesn't do anything necessarily, or he's not convicted of something wrong, or he was wrongly convicted, gets redeemed, and then everyone's like, oh, he's no longer has his motor mania. He's a changed Toad. He's different. He's not the same person anymore. And then all of a sudden you see him in an airplane. He's discovered the next thing, and he's just right on to, even though, and that's just how life is. We get this, we get a blessing, we get a free pass, we do something wrong, we get off, and then we just go right back to doing the same, thing that gets us in the trouble in the first place. So there's a lot of.
Mr. Toad deserves to be in hell.
What I'm saying is,
so Loomis, thank you.
Kind of. So yeah. So what I'm saying is, there is that that going on the wrong path will lead to that. Without that, like in the 1955, without the turning around, without the switching off, that path will lead to death. Because I mean, in all likelihood, Mr. Toad's going to crash the plane.
Well, I mean, it's motor mania, so it's definitely being obsessed with something and indulging and having an addiction in some sort of way. So I do look at it as sort of that kind of metaphor for it also, like having this addiction that will lead you straight to hell.
It's true. And
now I want to talk about how I think Mr. Toad was the inspiration for Taxi Driver.
Here we go.
This is what I've been waiting for. I got a teaser of this about a week ago.
So
I've been dying to hear the full theory.
So I kind of already kind of set it up, because this is all mostly going back to the movie versus the actual ride. But so Taxi Driver is a kind of a very similar thing. You've got they're both set in cars. They both take place with people that love cars. The taxi driver drives the taxi, obviously. Mr. Toad loves the car. So they're both on these kind of weird dark paths. And then you both have kind of a situation where they're doing wrong things, as in, Travis from Taxi Driver is like a vigilante. He's taking things in his own hands. He's doing a lot of weird stuff. Mr. Toad is still, he's a crazy, reckless driver. So they're both kind of doing wrong things, but then they are put into situations where they kind of where they get exonerated. So Mr. Toad gets let go from his wrong conviction. Travis is put into the situation where he goes and he rescues Jodie Foster. He kills like 4 people to do it. Right thing, wrong thing, who really knows? But he kind of gets exonerated, and they both have this kind of changed man. They're seen as heroes. They're seen as redeemed. It's like they're both now put on this righteous pedestal of like, these are great members of society. And so you think for a second, okay, well, you see right away Mr. Toad didn't change. And so I wrote a 10-page, 11, 12-page paper on Taxi Driver in college, and I read listened to 3 commentaries. And one of the best parts eye-opening parts was the end of it. Travis, you think okay, is he actually changed? Is he actually like a normal, good human member of society? And then you see him the last scene of the movie. It's going well, and then he looks up and he's right back into his schizophrenic paranoia of freaking out at the in the rear view mirror. And so you just see that's not a changed man. It's somebody that's going to just get right back into the next same trouble. So I think a lot of the inspiration that Paul Schrader probably watched Mr. Toad as a young man,
100%.
and was and then because he wrote Taxi Driver while he was he broke his leg and he was in bed rest. So he wrote Taxi Driver from the hospital.
Time to watch things.
And I think a lot of Mr. Toad was just in his mind. He just had a lot. Probably did the Disneyland ride too.
Maybe. This is maybe my favorite theory of all time, is that Taxi Driver is just basically a fanfic of Mr. Toad.
I'm all in on this.
And
Taxi Driver's my favorite.
Take no criticism. I think that is 100% solidified fact.
So this is the fully formed theory of it. Imagine the Uber ride developing this theory, because it immediately we started doing the research for it and just started looking at all the things Mr. Toad, and then I was just gabbing on about it, and Justin just stops me and goes into his Taxi Driver theory. He's like, wait, I got something here. And goes into it and starts
Drivers?
breaking it down and trying to figure it out. I'm so sorry about this is the neighborhood that I live in. If you can hear those sirens, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
They're
you
chasing
do,
Mr.
yeah.
Toad. He's on
So-
the radio.
They're
Oh,
trying
right
to catch
now,
Mr.
as we
Toad.
speak?
So he goes straight into the series, and they go straight to the place that's next to me. This happens like twice a week. I'm not even lying. There's a house that's down for me. It's like a frequent time that they. So I apologize for the sirens, yeah. But the just breaking this down, trying to figure it out, going back and forth to the Willy Wonka theory also, and just trying to figure it out. And that was a good time.
I just love, Justin, that you can compare anything to Taxi Driver. You're like, hold on a second. Taxi Driver? My theory is that you have like Taxi Driver mania and you are Mr. Toad. What Mr. Toad is to basically cars and then airplanes, you are to Taxi Driver. Like you're just like,
Okay.
ooh, wait a minute. Taxi Driver. That's my theory. You're welcome, everyone, for that.
Yeah.
I think there's a possibility. I don't know if I agree with Brother Lomas that no one has ever gotten into heaven with coattails. What about old time people? Well, maybe like people in the early 1900s just didn't get into heaven. Sorry, everyone that died on the Titanic. Well, third class wouldn't have been wearing coattails, so just first. You know, you're probably right. First class people probably don't deserve to get in heaven.
Yeah, they're probably fine.
Did we bring this up while I was doing my theory?
No, but that's a good one. There are an unusual number of animated frogs in hell.
See
He's
that
not even on the show right now.
that is a
It's still
really
breaking the
yeah.
show.
That's yeah.
Oh.
Wow.
Oh,
Anyways, we had a blast.
Yeah.
With
There's
Mr.
no
Toad's Wild
joking.
Ride.
I just want to know that we have now been talking on stream tonight for a little over an hour about this. And when we originally were breaking down Spectacular, like we're going to do a post-spectacular stream. I'd be like, everyone's going to do one, but we have to tell our stories and whatever. It'll be fun. And then we literally were like, and we'll have to talk about Mr. Toad. And then literally it was in that moment because we had already like had so much fun with it and talked about it so much. Again, like not even, we'd hit the tip of the iceberg on certain things, but we literally were like, no, wait, we have to invite Danie on to do an entire episode of Mr. Toad because we knew that this was going to happen. Like, we knew that it was going to be like an hour discussion.
There was no way it wasn't going to be.
On Mr.
There
Toad.
and the really wild thing about it is that there are still a lot of things that I feel like we can still go on. Like, we haven't even really talked about the movie yet. Like,
Right.
that's I'm telling y'all, I had so much fun with this experience. And then knowing that we were going to do this show just allowed me to extend this experience. And I truly believe that I've watched The Wind in the Willows, the double feature with it's the Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad. If you have Disney Plus, please go and watch it. It's the first 30 minutes of it. It's 30 minutes, 31 maybe at the
quick
most.
watch, yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Well,
so it's a very quick watch.
So that's kind of a funny thing in and of itself because we're like, okay, well, we've got to watch this thing. Like, where is it? This movie from 1948? Like, how are we going to
It's
find
right
it? We
there.
have to pirate it? And then we're like,
I knew
oh,
it
it's
was
on Disney
I had to
Plus.
look it up too, though. Like, it's like literally the Adventures of Mr. Toad and Ichabod. I'm like, that's not what I thought this was going to be under.
Right.
Yeah, just go into your Disney Plus search and just type in Mr. Toad, you'll see it.
It makes it sound like Ichabod Crane and Mr. Toad are going to like interact.
No, they don't. That's not at all.
But their stories
I
do
do
not
wanna-
reflect
I do want to see
whatsoever.
that, though.
Listen, I've watched that movie maybe 3 times now, a couple of times with Justin, once by myself, and I absolutely freaking adore that movie. It's very sweet. It's very cute. They got a little jingle at the beginning and in the middle of it that merrily on our way to nowhere at all. I
want a mole plushie. Like I want a mole.
I love Mole. Oh
Mr.
my
Rat
god,
plushie.
Mole is my dude.
Oh.
Let me tell you, I'm not even gonna lie. I almost want a Mr. Toad tattoo. That's how much That's how invested
Right.
I am.
Wait,
into
y'all, no lie. We're right here now. We're gonna state this because we had a pact that we would go on Mr. Toad as our last ride at
Good
Disneyland.
chapstick for
If we
this.
legitimately in 2023 meet up to ride this ride,
I'll
we're
do it.
rather effing getting a Mr. Toad.
I will do it.
Yes,
Oh
I'm sorry for
my
clapping
God.
right in my mic. I'm so sorry.
What was that
Yes,
one?
I will
I
do it.
will. 100%. My idea. We will talk about this later. But anyway, I want a Mr. Toad tattoo. I'm sorry. I do. I love it. I had such a wonderful experience. I'm not even lying. This
so
was a
game for that.
truly
Everyone,
magical
you're
experience.
gonna hold us to this when you see this stream in 2023, and we're all in Anaheim. You're gonna be like, "Hey, guys, are you getting your Mr. Toad tattoo?" And we're gonna be like,
Yes.
"Yeah, we are."
Yep.
We're all gonna get some
Yeah.
together.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not
after we
lying.
ride Mr. Toad 40 times.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do
100%.
it. I genuinely had such a fun experience. That movie is very sweet. I do not remember ever watching that movie when I was younger. What I do remember, I do remember Mr. Toad somewhere vaguely inside of my brain. It's there, it's somewhere. I've been a Disney kid my entire life. My mom has shoved Disney properties into my brain. I have inherited that. I am a Disney adult. Proudly wear that. I have no shame in that. There's only a little piece of me that just hates it, but it's fine. So I'm truly, truly grateful for this experience and this property, because this is very sweet. I had a very, very good time. I can't even tell you. I've said it all throughout the stream, y'all. I had a blast. I had so much fun. I don't think I've had that much fun in my life. So thank you, Mike. Thank you, Bethany. Thank you, Justin. Oh man, we had such a great day.
It is. They call Disneyland the happiest place on earth, and I will say I really did have one of the happiest, most magical experiences. So they don't lie.
We had our day together, the two of us, where we were just at Disneyland, and then we had a day primarily with Danie, and those were two of the most magical days I've ever had. So
They were good days. I've been telling everyone when I talk about the trip, because now that we're back home, friends from home have asked, and coworkers different things. Oh, how was your trip? Whatever. And I tell people some things over. Everyone wants to know, how was Disneyland? What do you think of Disneyland or whatever? And I was like, some of my favorite memories for Disneyland are like not the things I think people are expecting. Like, first of all, experience there, Mr. Toad. One of my other favorite experiences, which I think I said on last week's stream as well, was when everyone was in line together for Web Slingers.
Yep.
Which is ironic because Web Slingers, the actual ride, was like not my favorite
it's
ride.
not good.
But just like everyone being in line and playing heads up and just like bonding with, it was very funny. And like I said, we were very entertaining, I think, to other people waiting. That was when Cuties was born, because
That's
again,
exactly right.
We were like Googling things about the lockers, and I was like, y'all are really invested in your Q knowledge. You should start a podcast. So
that was when
we had Carthay Circle. I know we've discussed this a few times. The magical time we had at Carthay Circle with Danie, but like literally, y'all, like it was a moment.
Did we tell that story on the other stream? I can't remember. Getting into it, yes, right? A little bit.
We didn't go in
Time
depth.
for y'all to get into it, because I don't even know if I've really heard it the full in depth. I've just heard y'all talk about how much you love it.
Carthay Circle, we were really pumped too. So we get to California Adventure. Danie had gotten there already. She'd walked around a little bit. She was like, "Oh, just like message me when you get here." I'm like, "Okay." So we do. We message her when we get there. We decided we were going to meet over at Incredicoaster because it had like a pretty short wait time, and it was something we all wanted to do. So as we're walking by, you have to pass Carthay. It's like one of the first things you see when you enter California Adventure. And so we knew about the like walk-up reservation thing. So Mike's like, "Oh, I wonder if it's got like a really long wait. Should I go ahead and like put ourselves down in it now?" We go there and it says 15 minutes, and we're like, "Oh, we're not going to put our name on the wait. Like, we want to go like meet with Danie, want to ride rides. Like, we'll go back to that later." So we go, we meet up, we do a couple things, and then the day's like we'd only been there for like maybe like an hour or so. We go over to do Monsters Inc. and it was closed. So we're like, you know what? We've been here for a little bit. Like, it'd be nice to sit down. We're dying to go to Carthay Circle. And so we're like, okay, let's go ahead and try to, again, earlier, like literally maybe an hour, 2 hours prior, it was 15-minute wait. So we're like, okay, I go to do 3 people and it says it cannot do that. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. There's 3 of us. So I'm like, okay, well, I don't know what to do. So I go down 2 people and it'll let me do it, but it says to me 55 minutes. So I'm like, oh, I don't know, whatever. And then Danie very graciously was like, you guys like really wanted to do it. Like, please don't let me stop you. Like, I'm going to go try to get a drink somewhere. Like, whatever. And I go, well, we've got 55 minutes. Like, we'll hang out for the next like hour. It's almost going to be 1 o'clock. You can park hop over to Disneyland and like meet up with everyone else you want. And she's like, oh yeah, it's true. So we walk with her because she's going to go get a drink. And again, we think we have like an hour. And literally like 10 minutes later, we
Not
get
even.
the
I don't even
message
think it was
that
10
our
minutes.
table was ready.
Yeah.
So we go ahead and go into the bar. And we sit down. There's this lady sitting next to us. It's literally like the way the bar was. It's like there's like this gap in the middle, a few seats, and then literally 3 seats right there. And we're like, oh, of course, 3 seats. And like, wouldn't let us. But in fairness, there was someone sitting there at the time. So she gets up pretty early into her thing. So Mike messages Danie and is like, hey, you should try to see if you can get one, and then talk to the people at the door and ask them for the bar because we've got a seat literally just opened up. So she's like, yeah, I think I'm going to do that. So she's trying to like do it, whatever. She's having some technical difficulties. She talks to the people, whatever. By the time she gets in, they have sat another person by us already. A single person by us. And so we find out it's her birthday. The poor birthday girl, her fiance is at the hotel.
Food poisoning.
Food poisoning.
Yeah.
So she's stuck there. She's like, it's my birthday. Like, I'm going to have a good time. So she's got a couple of food allergies. She's talking to the bartenders. They were amazing. And
the bartenders were awesome.
Yeah, like Edgar and Aaron, like mad props to you. I know neither of you
The
are
best.
ever going to see
They were
this,
awesome.
but you were literally so great. So anyways, Danie finally gets to come in. So there's that like gap in the bar and then her. So we're still pretty close to her. And we're like, okay, like this mostly worked
fine.
out. This is
works.
fine.
We're
Whatever.
Cool.
So we're clearly talking to her. Birthday girl notices and she goes, oh, do you know her? And we're like, yeah, that's our friend. Like we have this thing and only 2 of us get in. We told her we were hoping maybe she'd get the seat by us. And she's like, oh my God, I'll move. Like I'm by myself. I don't care where I sit. So I thank you so much. So she moves. So now Danie is sitting literally next to us. And it's just like, so Carthay Circle, in case anyone's wondering. So basically it's a restaurant and a lounge. And it's modeled basically, Carthay Circle back in Old Hollywood was basically like a theater. And it's where they premiered Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was very important to Walt Disney and the history of the Walt Disney Company. And so they made their own little Carthay Circle and turned it into a restaurant and a lounge. So it's just set up like very old Hollywood. When you go upstairs to go to the restroom, which you did later, there's like pictures of like Walt at the premiere of Snow White. It's just very like classic and just, I don't know, you go in there and you just feel fancy. So we're in there and it was just like,
Yeah.
We were in there, whatever, and we just like started talking.
So you can see if you look to the left towards the back, you can see the bar.
Yeah.
That's where we sat.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
But it's honestly just like such a lovely time, and the bartenders were just like so great. But like honestly, the best part was that like we were able to all get in there together after all, and we just had like these just like really nice conversations. Like we were just like talking about like life
for like an hour and a half.
Yeah,
we sat there.
I got to hear the proposal story. I got to hear Mike and Bethany's proposal story that I hadn't heard before, and all of the ins and outs for it. And that just warmed my heart so much. It was such a sweet story to hear. Like I love you both so much, and I love your love and everything about it. So just being able to sit there and have some time with you all and just like cut it up about life and all of that stuff and just everything that was there. Like it was just such a beautiful moment. Like to just chill, like to just be like knowing that there's hustle and bustle going on. This is one of the busiest places that you're going to be in the United States. And we're just there in this moment.
In like a little like happy, but like literally because it's so like quiet and peaceful in there. And like again, it was just like 3 friends talking. And like you forget. Like I legitimately for like an hour forgot that we were at Disneyland.
Right.
Just, like,
legit. That was what it felt like. Big shout out to Jasmine also. I know we're saying shout out to Edgar and Aaron, but big shout out to Jasmine also. Jasmine was a cast member that helped me there. I didn't know how to do the reservation stuff at the time. So Jasmine was helping me with it, trying to get through, just click. And then I lost my reservation. How I said earlier, how Justin lost his reservation.
Yep.
I lost my reservation the same way. But Jasmine was right there when I did it. She saw me do it. So she talked to whoever it was at the front and said, I saw her, she had it, and now it's gone. Right. And then they told her, well, just go look at the bar and see if there's a seat open. So then they sent someone and they're like, it's open. So then Jasmine was like, let's go. And I was like, oh, thank you so much. So big shout out to Jasmine and oh man, it was that was such a nice experience because I didn't know for sure if I was going to get it. And I kept saying, if I can't, it's totally fine. I understand. Like if it's totally cool. I get it. Like, I don't want to break rules. Like, like when Bethany, look, when I tell y'all that I had the best time with them, I love to listen to Bethany talk about theme parks and all of that, because I love that shit. Like, I'm super interested in all of that stuff. So to be able to, like, that was a lot of what we talked about throughout the entire day also. And that was what made it so much fun for me, because you all are so knowledgeable about all of that stuff. So it was just so much fun to pick your brains and to just listen to you all about that. And so when you talked about the rules, instantly I was like, yes, I'm the same way. Like, there are societal rules that sometimes we have to follow. Listen. And so that was my whole thing with Jasmine. And I was like, it's totally cool. I get it. If I can't, it's fine. But they went out of their way to make sure that I could hang out with my friends. They knew that I was alone, because no, it's just me. I'm just by myself. My friends are there. I was just walking around with them. They got in. I couldn't. It's totally fine. It's no big deal. And she made it happen. And it was so nice. Such a great time.
Like, literally all the cast members that we dealt with there were like and again, we dealt with a lot of great cast members at Disneyland. Like seriously, mad props to everyone that we dealt with there. Especially because, again, I know they had such a heck of a time in the last, like going year and a half, whatever, of madness that has ensued in the world. And they were shut down for a very long time. So it was amazing to be there, and like everyone was just so nice. But yeah, I don't think we had, like, again, in a trip full of amazing cast member experiences, I think that was like the best cast members that like we
Carthay Circle
dealt
was
with, for
like
sure. They were so great.
Yeah.
And I just love their little like seriously, everything was just like very old, like glamorous Hollywood, and like the bartenders like wore the very like old like little bow ties, and just like I don't know.
And the drinks, the drinks though.
And then, the drinks are amazing. Very but very amazing.
Yes, they really were.
Yeah, I've talked about it like a gazillion times on our show or whatever, on stream, whatever. As everyone knows, I'm obsessed with Podcast The Ride, and they're big Carthay Circle people. Everyone that like lives in California is big Carthay Circle people. And so when we'd gone out
walking in there,
Disneyland, we had joked around, because everyone always says, like, when you go to Disneyland, because of course Walt never actually got to witness Disney World, because he was dead before it was built and operating. So people always talk about, when you go to Disneyland, you can just feel Walt's presence and whatever. I'm going to be honest, I never felt Walt's presence at any point. But when I went to Carthay Circle, I felt Podcaster. I was like, Mike Carlson has probably sat at this bar stool, and Scott Gardner has probably had some wine here, and Jason Sheridan has probably had some kind of treat. Jason Sheridan, mad props to you, my fellow Disney treat fan. But yes, I was just like when he ordered the Manhattan, I was like, the boys on Podcast The Ride love the Manhattan. So like the entire time, I basically was just being like a weirdo Podcast The Ride fan.
Here's the crazy thing. Usually Manhattan is like my favorite drink. The old fashioned was better.
Yes. And which again, mad props to bartender Aaron for recommending to us. This is the thing, and Juice as a bartender, I'm sure you can 100% back this up. So we like to ask, so we told bartender Aaron,
this one up.
And West Coast bartender Aaron, that we have our favorite bartender in Disney on the East Coast is also named Aaron. He works at Nomad Lounge, which is, if you ever go to Disney World, it's at Animal Kingdom. It is the best bar in all of Disney World. Like, bar none. 100%. So we love this guy Aaron, and he one time told us not to get. My friend was with us. She wanted to get a sangria, and he was like, "Don't drink the sangria. It's gross." And so she was like, oh, "Okay, whatever." So she didn't get it that time. The next time he was not our bartender, so she's like, "Screw that guy. I'm getting this thing. I like sangria. How is sangria gonna be gross?" It was disgusting. Like, this man knows what he's talking about. Never doubt a bartender. They know what they're talking about. So we come to learn that sangria basically was made by like this old manager who knew nothing about making drinks, whatever. So we talking to West Coast Aaron in Carthay Circle, and he's asking him about his next drink. He's like, "I'm stuck between the mojito and the old fashioned." And so Aaron goes, Jerry a lot. So Aaron goes, definitely the old fashioned. He's like, "I'm gonna put it this way. The mojito was made by a food and beverage person, like a food and beverage representative, like some kind of manager. The old fashioned was, the recipe for the old fashioned was made by a bartender." And the second he said that, Mike was like, "The old fashioned. You always trust the bartender. You never trust the manager or any kind of executive. They don't know what they're talking about. They're like, this will sell well." Always trust the bartender. That is one story.
We did make Justin and I did make a joke about it when we were talking about the ride and how we were going to make up stories for what the ride was. I told Justin, I said, "You have to tell Mike and Bethany that when we did the research for the ride, that you found out that the bartender's name is Aaron." And
Oh yeah.
he had no idea what I was talking about. And I said,
I
"Just
would have been
go with it.
suspicious.
That's
I
right. Okay,
was like,
that all is
no
coming
way.
together now.
Just go with it." So,
That would've been
so
so
then I
funny.
told him that that's what you
Right.
had said, that you had the bartender Aaron in Florida and that we had the bartender Aaron in California. So how funny would it have been if it was the bartender at Mr. Toad's? His name is Aaron, right?
Right.
His
But-
name is now
It'd be
Aaron.
great.
Here's the
It'd be
thing though. So we watched the movie. I'm
Mhm.
telling y'all, there's still so much we can talk about. We watched the movie,
Part two.
immediately
Part two.
immediately discovered that the bartender is a scumbag.
Go.
A scumbag.
Yeah, we don't
And
want
as
him
soon
to
as
be
we
named
learn
Aaron.
that,
You're right.
oh
Right.
no,
He's not
his
a
name
good
is
dude.
not Aaron. That's not an Aaron.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
he's
not
not an Aaron, and Aaron would never.
Aaron would never. He
Never.
would never
He would
go
never.
on trial
We have an
against
Aaron on our
Mr. Toad.
podcast.
Never. Let me tell you something about this shady ass bartender and these weasels over here, y'all. There's plenty of things that we can talk about.
Literal
Not
weasels.
weasels.
Literal weasels. I'm sorry. Literal weasels.
Literal
They're
weasels.
Yeah, they're actually weasels,
Yeah.
but also weasels in the like metaphorical sense as
Yeah.
well.
I gotta give this comment a little notice because so my time at Spectacular with the Exchange was fantastic, but I will agree with Brother Lomas here. Things did get hairy when Gold Leader demanded Snow White. That was the first time that I've seen.
All right.
First
So
time I've seen a kickboxing match
BRB. I'm
over
sorry.
a Zoom call.
I do have a question, Juice. Which members of the Exchange are which dwarf?
I gotta remember. I gotta pull up. I
True.
don't even know Disney princesses. I gotta remember what all their names are.
All right, so it's Doc,
Right.
Sleepy, Sneezy, Dopey,
Oh,
Grumpy.
So it's
the
Hugh
dwarves?
White. Who are
Yeah.
his 7
Who?
dwarves?
Which members are which dwarf?
oh, okay. Yeah, that's a great. Let me. I'll just pull up
Right.
All right.
Doc,
So
Sleepy, Sneezy, Sleepy,
I'll just upload a picture real
Sleepy,
quick.
Sneezy, Dopey, Grumpy.
This is an
Yeah.
appropriate listening podcast.
Baffle.
Okay.
I'm brain farting.
Are you
many
naming
we said?
dwarves?
6?
We have 6, yeah.
Did you name Doc?
Okay.
There you
Oh,
go. Sneeze.
Oh,
there
there
we
we go.
are.
There we go.
Okay, hold on.
Bash.
So okay. Whoops.
Wait, there's 2 docs
So-
on that
There's
one.
2 docs there,
Oh,
yeah.
2 docs.
Yeah,
are going
but what?
on. But it's
But there's
7. There's
8.
only 7. Okay.
Yeah, why
So-
is that on your quiz? Okay, so Grumpy, Dopey, Sleepy, Sneezy, Happy, Doc. Oh, we kept forgetting.
All right. Roka's
Happy, yeah.
grumpy. Roka's grumpy.
Oh,
Yeah,
100%.
100%. Dopey.
Dopey B.
Who's Dopey?
And we're assuming. So yeah. So Gucci Snow White. So.
All right, I'm gonna go bashful for Taylor. Taylor for
Oh, yeah,
Taylor
sure.
Robinson for bashful.
Okay.
Wait, which Taylor? Which Taylor?
Robinson.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Right.
So
Um,
Grumpy is Roka.
I'm gonna go happy for Taylor Cleek.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you put Newman at Doc?
Ooh, I
Oh,
could
yeah.
see, I could see that. I think
I
that's
kind
good.
of like that.
I like that.
Yeah.
Dopey's hard. I don't
There's
know.
JTE too.
Yeah.
JTE is he could be all of them.
I think in all of the best ways. Like in the
Yeah.
I mean
Oh,
this
yeah.
in the sweetest terms. JTE is dopey.
Yeah, no, I
But
think
in the
that.
best-
Yeah, I like that.
I
Oh,
mean
JTE
that in
is
a
shit.
positive sense, y'all. Like JTE
I agree
is
with
dopey
that, I
for
think.
this whole faction. Y'all. Look at
Brother-
those blue eyes. Come on.
Yeah.
Brother Lomas says Gold Leader is dopey. What would be Sleepy? Any of them falling asleep? You can't have Ben Bateman. He's not in the Exchange. That'd be good for when he fell asleep
Sleepy.
Who could be
on
sleepy?
stream or whatever. Or there's somebody flying here.
Yeah, Sleepy's tough. Sneezy's tough too.
Easy.
Yeah, they're both kind. This is kind of tough.
So there's JT.
Who did we make happy? Did we assign anyone happy? Yeah, the 7 I think making them
we do
princess
Rager?
is nice and easier.
Happy should be Brother Lomas.
Yeah. Okay. I see that. I see that.
I see that too.
I think
You know what? I think the Rager should be Sleepy because all of them are
He's always wearing a
sleeping
robe.
on the Rookie of the Year, Mr.
Yeah.
Gratis.
I have my
True.
button. I have my button.
Yeah.
I have my button too. It's in my purse.
I'm now intrigued. Who are all the princesses?
I could see King Khan as
Brother
easy.
Lomas says that he's Tiana. That's a good one. Making some
How do I
beignets.
get that? I gotta remember it. There we
I
go.
wonder who has the best hair. They should be Rapunzel.
Best hair in the exchange. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Oh, wait, I
either.
gotta.
I think
I
that's
should
kind of
have a-
Roka. I'm not gonna lie.
Roka does have some good hair. Yeah, I see it.
Yeah.
I do see it. Are you pulling up some princesses right now first?
I'm gonna pull up the exchange actually.
Moose
should be happy because yeah.
There.
Moose should
Yeah, we
be
got
happy.
Lieberman.
Oh, Barbarian.
Barbarian.
Why are we
That's
putting
right.
Oh, Barbarian.
Barbarian is 100%
Rapunzel.
Rapunzel.
Yeah.
And Barbarian's Doc. Barbarian's 100% Doc. Also,
Barbarian's Doc. Look at
for
that
that.
stance. That stance just says
Yeah.
Barbarian.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. All right. So if Brother Lomas is Tiana, let's see.
Who are the Disney? Yeah. Who are the? Hang on.
A hurricane of joy and positivity.
That is true.
Can I just point out that the 10th person on the team taken, and that's awesome.
I mean, it was
The
a
con?
stacked team. A very stacked team. Oh, yeah, you're right. Con is
You did a
Elsa
pretty good
for
job this
obvious
time.
reasons.
Obvious.
100%. But yeah, if Barbarian isn't Rapunzel, what's even the point of anything?
Mhm.
You know,
That's funny.
that is definitely a given. All right, y'all. Well, I think our wild ride is about to come to an end. Like we said earlier, we could legitimately discuss this. After we ride it 40 times in 2023 and get our matching Mr. Toe tattoos, I promise we will do a follow-up stream for everyone. But yeah, thanks everyone for joining us on Solid Wide. This was a good time. It was kind of like being back at Carthay. Drinks were had, good times were had. But yeah, Danie, when you're not, going on wild rides, where can people find you?
You know me, y'all. You can find me on Twitter at DanieJoy, DANIEEJOY. You can also find me on the Call to Action Network.
Maybe.
Nat and Dylan were.
C2A has been a little bit inactive for a little while. Nat and Dylan are doing a lot of great things on their Twitch Wednesdays. They're doing stuff over there. Megs is doing amazing things over there. After Action Report. Please go rewatch those videos. She's starting this new series called Unclassified or Classified. I'm so sorry. I cannot remember the exact title of it, but please, she's doing a lot of good work over there, really keeping this podcast afloat. But once those nominees are out, we might have a good surprise for y'all. So keep that in mind. I might be making my return sometime soon. So keep an eye out.
And Danie, you're always welcome here. You just hit us up.
Yeah,
you can join any stream you want.
You're an absolute delight, and we appreciate you and love you forever.
I love you so much.
A little rundown of what we've got going on here next Wednesday. Next Wednesday, I believe we are going to be taking a break from our normal stream, but since Danie did unlock the Airbud, I don't know if you promises. This is obviously AJ's talent session, but I think we might be dropping an Airbud next week, so get excited. For that, everyone, y'all did it. Thank you so much for the likes on AJ's stream yesterday. Airbud is coming.
I might actually, if I'm gonna do a show Wednesday, I might do my Keytar concert Wednesday then.
Hell yeah!
So I've been planning to do a Keytar Christmas concert and then do kind of the same with Streamlabs. I'll probably pick a charity more local to me, but I'll do it from my. I'll do it from my channel. I won't do. Or no, actually, I'll probably just do it to Facebook. Actually, that seems to be the
You can
easiest.
do it on this channel. We don't care.
Well,
you can do it on all the above, Juice.
I'm like I only do copyright music, so like Facebook sometimes is just easier. I'll probably upload it. I don't know because it's guitar. But
Yes,
okay, look for that next week. So maybe we'll do
for that.
Yeah, so maybe we'll do the Airbud
coming next Wednesday. Not a normal show. We're taking a little break for the holidays. But Juice will be helping out the children with his guitar. So everyone look for that. And then the following week, I think we can announce that we are doing What the Showdown round 2. We're switching up the teams. Juice and I, we've been strategizing. I'm excited. We will be teaming up. Mike and Adrian will be teaming up. Jabroni will be back. Jeff will be back.
Jabroni.
You know, doing his quiz show things, asking us questions. So that is how we'll be wrapping up this year.
However,
yeah,
the week after.
The week after.
Should we announce it now?
I say yes.
Should we announce it now?
Go ahead and announce it.
I don't know what this is.
the 5th. This is the 5th.
Yeah.
Recap 2022. We're going to do our year-end recap for 2022 once again, as we did last year for 2021.
In the first week of January. I really hope that people don't try to stage a coup the very next day after we do it. Like
that's what happened last time. But we got him back. Adam Witt, Paul Preston, the movie guys coming back to recap 2022. 5 days in.
5 days in. Woo! Get hype. We're hype. Everyone get excited. We've got a couple of good shows. Again, next week will be Juice's guitar thing most likely. We'll be ending the year strong with a little team up, What's the Showdown, and then we'll be starting the next year off very strong.
Movie guys, we love them.
Coming back and recapping the year with us. So,
and lots more of Danie this year.
Yeah, more Danie always. Yes, that's gonna happen. Again, I love everyone. Thanks for joining me in hell tonight. All of you. This tonight was great. Yeah, that's all I have to say. It was a wild ride indeed. Thank you, Mr. Toad. Thank you, Mole. Thank you, Mr. Rat.
Thank you, Mr. Badger. Thank you, Mr. Rat.
Mr. Badger. Oh, Mr. Badger. He's sweet too. All right. Good night, everyone.
Mr. Toad.
Mr. Toad. Is the stream still going?
Yep.
And that's a nice haircut.
Bye, everyone.